Hi everybody, Mike Pfeiffer. This video is specifically for George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man. He was kind enough to, I had noticed in his videos that he had a lot of old model boxes and a lot of stuff that I remember from the 50s and 60s. So he and I have a lot in common when it comes to our love of old model kits. Not that I have a bunch of old model kits, but I do enjoy them. So since George was kind enough to show me his models, we're going to take a look at all the ones that I have. I don't have a whole lot of them, so this will be real short and not very boring. But this is for you, George. I appreciate your effort, and here we go. Okay, up here on this shelf, George, you might remember that I think that's a 1/12 scale cord. I don't remember who made it. I wanted to say it was Monogram, but I don't know. You can see it's awful dusty. The little MG was a 1/25 scale kit, and I also don't know who that was by. I built that many years ago, probably 25-30 years ago. And I don't know why it just, I've hung on to it. It's just kind of always kind of a sentimental little sports car for me. I love GT40 Fords, so I have a couple of die casts of GT40s there. Back in the day, many years ago, as you all would probably know if you're a NASCAR fan, I was a Terry Labonte fan. That is a 1/25 scale kit by AMT, I believe, that I built and painted. It's one of the few kits that I still have remaining. I have a lot of kits that just got destroyed up in the attic and so forth. But that's the extent of the ones I have out here in the train room. Let's go inside and take a look at some of the stuff I have inside. Okay, George, I'm in here in my little workroom in the house. And while I can't drag them down, I have some kits here that I bought recently that that AMT has re-released. I was always kind of a Corvair fan, and I'm sure you remember that kit there. It has the little window kit on the back that kind of makes the back window of the Corvair look like a GTO. And then they made the funny car kit with the funny car chassis to go with it. These drivers here I bought for a little project that I'm going to show you in a little while. I'm also going to show you half of this double dragster kit, which I'm also sure you remember. None of these are old kits, they're all reproduction kits. But they were just things that I liked. I was exceptionally fond of the Fiat gasser, and so I built many of those. I also was kind of a Studebaker fan, and I always liked the twin supercharger Studebaker kits. Next to that, up on the top, if I can get up there, up on the top is a Myers-Manx dune buggy. I built several of those kits years ago, and I'm going to show you the one that I recently built that I used the figures out of that Fujimi driver kit for. I'm sure you remember that kit as well. And all these other ones that you're staring at here, these are all of the reproduction weirdo kits. I don't know if you were ever into them. I just kind of remember them. And I always thought they were kind of cool and funky to build when you really didn't want to spend a lot of time on a car kit. And I used to spend lots and lots of time on car kits, and eventually wound up building a lot of 1/12 scale car kits and motorcycles for that matter. But I did have a soft spot for all the old stuff. That little tiny box here that says Ulrich Model Kits is an HO scale metal truck kit, very similar into the type of casting that was done on the Hubley kits. They're becoming kind of hard to find, and I think you would enjoy them if you haven't already built some of those at one point in time, George. I'm going to show you a couple other things here. Okay, George, while I don't have a lot of these old car model magazines, I wish I had the funds and the time to collect all the car model magazines, because looking at these magazines is the way I spent about 90% of my childhood life when I wasn't in school. I eat, slept, and breathed model cars, and I entered a couple of national contests, and I once won a Kawasaki Mach 3 jacket in one of the national contests with a I believe it was a BSA 112 scale drag bike kit. But anyways, I used to have a lot of fun with it. Now, I didn't build too many airplanes and armor and things, but mostly cars. But obviously I bought this one because it had the dune buggy in it. Okay, George, I know these were really crazy, but like I say, they were kind of a stress reliever. And you know, always when you were a kid, you always thought this kind of stuff was cool, along with the Frankenstein models and Dracula and all that. I think everybody had to build at least one or two of those, and the Mummy and the Bride of Frankenstein and all those. And I'm sure you remember those kits as well. And like I told you on my post on your video, I built a lot of those kits, the old 36s and the Ford. I was a real fan of the Ford Victorias. I built many of the Ford Victorias. But anyway, this is one of the weirdo kits that I built, and then I replaced this one with a one in the box. Okay, George, here's my little Fiat that I built pretty recently. I did a video on this car alone. Like I say, I always just loved the look of the little Fiats, and I always thought they made a real nice gasser. But there you go. Nothing to do with my time, so I constructed that. And we're going to take a look at that one that you can see on the left there. Okay, I have two all-time favorite cars in reality. I mean, I have a lot of favorite cars, but my very favorite is, I always liked the Jim Hall Chaparrals. He was a pioneer in aerodynamics way back in the 60s when no one else was thinking of this stuff. I'm sure you may be familiar with some of the history of some of the Chaparral cars. They had a car after this that was called the sucker car, or the vacuum cleaner. It had two big fans on the back and had rubber skirting all the way around the bottom of it, and the fans would suck the air out from underneath the car and suck the car down to the ground, giving it artificial weight. The cars could only weigh so much, but when you suck the air out from under the car, like a vacuum cleaner, it would hold the car on the track. A lot of these ideas didn't pan out in the 60s. However, you'll find a lot of the technology that's on these cars made in the 60s on cars today. By the way, this was a Chevrolet V8. I don't remember the cubic inch displacement. However, it used a Power Glide 2-speed automatic transmission, which was also very novel for racing cars of that day. This is a die cast. I'll see if I can get it apart here for you, George, and I'll take a picture of it. These kits were done by a company called Exato, and they're unfortunately quite expensive, so I don't have an awful lot of them. Like I say, I wouldn't have it if it wasn't my all-time favorite car. You can see that they have a lot of detail on them. Even though this car cost me a lot of money, I don't think I'd ever part with it. I have bought some other Exato cars, and I have parted with them because I couldn't just stand to see them sitting there collecting dust and costing that kind of money. But this one will probably remain here forever. But Mr. Hall, when he made these cars, this wing here, when the car was going down the straight, the wing would level out. When he applied the brake, the wing would go up, putting downforce on the back end and making the car brake better. But anyway, I hope you enjoy that one, and let's take a look at the one other one that I have up here. Okay, George, here's another car that happened to be one of my favorites. It's the Chrysler turbine car. This is a dealer model. I bought this on eBay a while back. I didn't pay a lot of money for it because it is a lot of chrome rubbed off, the hood ornament's gone, and some other things. However, the reason this car is fond to me is not that everybody had one, or not that very many people had one. I don't believe that Jay Leno even has one yet. I think he has one online from a gentleman who, when he passes away, he'll inherit the car. But nevertheless, I saw this car, the real car, at a Dodge dealership in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And their demonstration, they put 14 glasses of wine stacked on the hood of the car and let the car idle. And you could not even see the wine moving in the glass, which doesn't seem to be much of an accomplishment until it dawns on you that that turbine idled at 14,000 RPM. So that turbine would sit there and idle, and you could not see the wine in the glasses that were stacked on the hood even moving. The reason this car never hit the market, I think, or I feel like, is it was very efficient. It was a nice car. It was a nice looking car. Problems arose when they figured out that the exhaust gases coming out the exhaust pipe were 1400 degrees and that it would melt asphalt and people's hands and so forth. So anyway, it never made it to production, although they were a very nice car. You might look them up on YouTube and stuff. There's a lot of interesting information about them and what happened to them. They crushed up a lot of them. But I just thought it was a very futuristic and nice looking car for the time. So let's move on to the last couple of cars I got, George, and hope you will enjoy them. Okay, George, this is a little guy that I just recently did. And the reason I built this little Myers-Manx was that when I used to drag motorcycles back, in the early 70s, I drag raced Kawasaki's. Buddy of mine owned his dad owned a Kawasaki shop. So we had an in for a lot of stuff. But anyways, I used to race against a little car that was exactly like this, only it was black. But well, I wouldn't say exactly, but you get the idea. It was a very similar car to this. Very, very, very fast Volkswagen in the day. I don't know. The guy was obviously savvy on Volkswagens because that little car used to scoot down the strip. But anyway, this is my rendition of what I remember seeing. The exhaust headers are made out of solder, and it's aluminum tubing for the extractor. Parts from several cars here. The slicks were additional parts that you could, the reproduction AMT parts, and also I think those Chevrolet wheels were additional parts. The front wheels were out of some dragster kit, I don't know which one, and there's our little driver figure that was out of that Fujimi kit. So anyway, I hope you enjoy just looking at this one. And I'm going to show you one more, and while I didn't build it, you're going to like it. Okay, George, I'm sure you recognize this guy. I think if you're of the same mindset that I am, and I think we are as far as models in our era of building and watching television and so forth, you definitely, almost anybody will recognize this car. It's the first generation Batmobile. I saw the TV car a couple of times at a couple of car shows. I always tell people that one of the versions I saw of this car at a car show was not in a gloss paint, and I've found out that the car in the TV show was a gloss paint, I believe, but the one I saw was actually flocked with a black flocking on the outside that resembled a bat. It was it had a fuzzy texture to the whole outside of the body with some type of flocking on it. Now, I don't know if it was a car movie or if it was, a movie car rather, or if it was something that they built to take to car shows. Nevertheless, I always remembered as a kid. Now, while this is not a plastic model, it is, however, a Hallmark Christmas tree ornament. And not only did I like the way the car looked, but I had to have it because of this. Well, George, I kind of hope you like that. As you can see, I don't have a lot of plastic models left. I don't have a lot of place to put them. I'm kind of overrun with the trains and the train business, but I built a lot of model cars in 187 or 1/160th scale for the N scale stuff, and we won't bother classifying those as model kits. You and I know that real plastic models are either metal or larger plastic models. But anyway, I just want you to know that I really, really appreciate you showing me those kits that you did in your videos, and I remember all of those boxes, remember all of those kits, built several of them myself. When I was a kid all the way up till I was about 35 years old, I probably almost built every kit that ever came out, and I was really so tired of building kits that's how I got involved in trains. There just was nothing new.
I started building the Tamiya 1/12 scale race cars. I built the Tyrrell 6-wheel F1 car, quite a few Porsches, just a lot of 12 scale stuff. And where is it today? I don't know. I might have a few assembled kits still up in the attic. I broke some out and let the grandkids look at them and put them in their room. And of course, they got ruined over a period of time. But anyway, George, this is for you. And while you can see I don't have a large collection, like I say, we share the same thoughts about what we liked in our childhood. And George, keep on doing what you do. And I love seeing your videos, man. Anybody else out there, check out Shade Tree Fix-It Man. He's a great guy. You'll like his videos. And George, thanks a lot again.